All right, call the public meeting to order. This meeting is to service public notice for opening negotiation with the Teachers Association. I'd like to thank Mr. Ellis for being here today as a representative. So if anybody has any public comments they'd like to make, feel free to do so at this time. Hearing none. Any comments, Dr. Mundy?
No, sir. I think we look forward to doing it. The last couple of years, we've always had a great relationship with our association, and we're in a spot where we're ready to get this thing moving forward. So I appreciate Scott being here too, and Scott, Matthew, and I are ready to start getting the teams together, sir.
Absolutely.
And I should know too, Dan has volunteered to be the board rep for negotiations. So.
All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion. Have a second? Second. Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0. Meeting is adjourned. I gotta wait 2 minutes.
Probably wait 2 minutes.
Is there a bottle of water, Dave?
Yes, sir. You got Alyssa? She's right over there. Thank you, Nancy, for the brand new, not Nancy Moss. We said about it, and Nancy's like, oh, yeah. I had one all this too.
I guarantee I'll screw it up this time. I guarantee I'll do it on my turn. There's no water. Where is everybody? I was stopping for that may or may not dawn on me.
Wait, is this kindergarten?
So is there like a little intro for the live stream?
Just live stream starts going, yeah. Jake, you want to work on a show introduction or anything?
I mean, I can show you after it's done.
No, we want you to do something snazzy, you know? Yeah.
Like start up to the
Live
office
from-
every time. Like
Yeah.
some music at the office. Yeah, something kind of crazy.
Be kind of cool.
All right, here we
Work
go.
on that.
Ready?
All right, call a regular board meeting to order. We'll start off with our Pledge of Allegiance.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good to see everybody this evening. Let's get to Dr. Mundy. Are there any agenda revisions?
There will only be one, actually, sir. When we get to personnel, we need to do 2 separate votes. There is one person on the personnel report tonight that might have a relative that's here tonight, though, that we're very happy about hiring with Brett. And I said, unless Kim's going to vote no, she doesn't get to vote on this. So, so we'll have to have kind of a separate vote for personnel, sir, just with one person.
Okay, excellent. All right, we'll move on to agenda revision, or share showcase.
Sure. Tonight I want to give a very quick update on where we're at with the projects and make sure we're all on the same page of kind of where we know we're going with other projects down the road. As in the past, you guys know I don't normally read much to you, but because anybody watching can't see the PowerPoint, I'll kind of read a little bit more than normal. The field house, our 3 current main events, the field house is on pace. They were doing some concrete work today. We're still looking at January of this year, which is exactly where we've been all along. There was some delusions a while ago. I think Mr. Davis would agree that we were going to be done maybe in November, but we're back to really January. The bleachers are on the roll to be done too. Basically, we're waiting on the press box. I think I just sent that to everybody. The press box is en route from Texas right now. It would have been delivered, except for a couple of the states we have to pass through charge extra fees for delivering during the week of 4th of July, so they delayed it and waited until this week, which is fine. We know it'll be put up. We got the Monday the 17th, and then we also have, I just got word from Eric Gifford that electrical will be putting in on Monday the 24th, I think is what he told me, if that's the Monday, but Monday the 24th. So we're on pace to be done before the end of the month and ready to go. In the auditorium, we do have our certificate of completion. The auditorium has some small touch-up stuff. We got a few steps we got to update on the way in and out, but really that project's done and ready to go. And it looks great in there right now too, so we should be in good shape.
I have a question.
Yes.
So those dates for the bleachers and the auditorium should be 2023?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
If our bleachers aren't done before 24, I'm gonna have a lot of explaining to do to a lot of people. So yes, thank you, Kim, for catching that. It kind of shows you where we're at in our bonding allotment. We know we have some other projects to do. We're still sitting at about 1.2 million in other bonding potential. My big reminder too is nothing on this chart, nothing has to do with salaries and or referendum. This is all money that has to be spent on projects and is budgeted for that way. So we know we've got some other things that we're talking about. This is just more details on the bleacher project just because I had them. Basically, you can see the timeline I just told everybody. We should be good to go with electrical starting on July 19th, except for they just told us the Monday, the 24th. There was an issue with the handicap ramp that has now been solved. The handicap ramp basically didn't have the right concrete in place. They've already fixed it. It's ready to go. That situation's already been rectified. And then we will start doing, I know I've been asked, there will be fencing around the home bleachers so that kids can't go underneath them and stuff during the game. It's just not set up. Whole intention is to have the asphalt and the bleacher, or at least the cutoff fence, done and in place before the first football game. So we should, obviously that pathway is kind of imperative to traffic flow, and everybody knows that. So we're working through that right now. To make it official, I have let R.L. Turner know that the cost numbers that we saw didn't come back that we thought were cost effective. So we have put the softball diamond that was going to go down in the old softball area on hold, as well as the restroom facility. Even with the amount of drainage we had to do at that point, a new restroom facility was going to cost about $620,000. That's not cost effective or the way we want to do it. So R.L. Turner has been great in this, and we told them that we're on hold for a couple different reasons, which I'll address here in a minute. So officially, we are on hold for both of those projects, and I'll come to location conversation and a few others that we got to look into. What we're doing right now is there was a drainage plan somewhat done when our last architect was a part of the project. It was not a comprehensive drainage plan, and frankly, some of it was inaccurate. We have been working through that to get that done. I just had a meeting with CSO right after John and I's meeting, actually on Friday, and they are looking at a comprehensive drainage plan. The issue we're looking at too is no matter what we do, remember we were looking at a turf field where the old softball field was, even if we put a turf field, we were still going to have to dig a new pond. That's how much water runs down there. That's just not cost effective to do. Frankly, we're looking at, and I'll mention this too, but we're looking at potentially using that as our new drainage area. The other issue we're running up against on drainage is in our pond out back at the middle school, we can only dig so much farther till we actually hit water. And we don't wish to make that an active pond either, because that changes all our rules and everything we have to do. So more of the story is we are getting, that will tie a drainage study, that will tie into CSO's work, which should be presented to the needs assessment. We presented maybe in the August board meeting. We would have to schedule a work session, sir, but if we want to, I'll know for a fact coming up. They were here Friday finishing things up. They told me there should be good for middle of August, no problem. I think it's wise for us anyway to wait until we get all of that information before we do anything anyhow. Let's see what they have to say. However, we can still take, the issue we're having now is where do we move the dirt that's going to be out there? We were going to use it for softball. We will still be putting some of the dirt on the softball area, and some of it will be going out back behind where the bus barn is, because that's a flood zone anyway, so we can fill some of that in for later. Tentatively, here's what we're looking at doing. And this is nothing to set in stone, and this is nothing that is even official, but we would look at maybe using the old softball area for water and drainage. That makes more sense. There's a natural swale that already runs back to our other pond, so that's why the halt. In other words, we didn't want to dig two ponds, so we could have a natural swale going there. We have discussed and doing some cost estimates of what it would be to move softball up into the southwest corner of the high school. We can do that. Softball doesn't take up much space. The main question there would be where does electrical come from, or what drainage line we tap into out there. But we are getting some numbers on that just to see what the cost would be. We also are still working on several ideas for soccer. Soccer and softball were the two things that we need to get done next and they're still out there just on hold for right now to see where we're going to go. And then finally, some other areas that we're just looking into that are on the radar that I've heard come up, so I want to make sure I address them. Yes, we can use the old restroom facility. Remember, we were going to kind of build a new restroom facility when the softball was going back there, because then we could combine everything into one. Well, if softball's not there, I don't need new concession, new everything else. So one of the things we are, because I've been asked that, we are looking at redesigning the existing restroom facility that was there, just really making it a lot nicer than what it was. The nice part about that is there is a new drainage line there that we can tap into. We are looking to, because I know I get asked that a lot, just make it, we are looking at what it looks like to move the front office, Kent's office here to the gym area or something like that. But basically for safety reasons, moving the office out of the middle of the building. And we do know we have some issues with roofs, and actually that'll come as part of the study from CSO when they come in, a roof and HVAC. Anybody that's ever been to the library knows we have a duct that blows right in next exit that goes right into an enter. So therefore we want to get that fixed too, so that maybe we can change some smells in there for you, sir. The new softball area, the other thing to look at too, the only issue if we go out there to that area would be we do need to consider what lights would be down the road. Obviously, I'm not concerned. We will here as a board, because I've had this in the past. They make lights now that there is no spillover to, even if we moved it to the far corner, those neighbors are not going to get lights on the nights we do it. I mean, you can pinpoint. I would tell you on my last project, I could show you, we said where we wanted the lights to end, and they literally ended it right there. So that's how good lighting is, but we'll have to know how to use the electrical for that. We also have the advantage out there too, that if we had to level out the dirt, we can build some berms to help separate us from the neighborhood over there, which would be nice as well, and there'd be a nice sitting area too. Scoreboard electrical, just things I've mentioned. One thing that is a positive, not doing the softball once construction's over, not doing softball where old softball was, at least for now. I mean, it could still come back up. We can move football practice back down there. I know we'll have a football coach that would greatly appreciate that. And that's where we could go. And I did want to, we do have in-house ability to build several of these other structures too. I was asked if we're using Mr. Ison's class, and we would be for several of these, and I know he's very excited to help us as we go through it all. And then that also leads us to, if we just move softball out there, one of the plans we'll have to discuss is basically what's expansion look like, which is kind of the culminating of all of this. Where are we going to be in now 7? It was 8, I used to say, but now 7 years as we move further down the road. So that's kind of information I've been sharing and trying to answer questions anyway, but kind of put it officially kind of where we stand at this time. So I'm glad to answer anything.
Any questions for Dr. Mundy?
Appreciate the update.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and obviously I think, we're kind of on hold and anticipating CSO's report.
It worked. I really appreciate too, I should say, everybody that went into this, of our partners, that we're working with right now, none of them were overly pushed, or you got to do this and that. I mean, they have been great at, you're right. When we all saw the drainage issue coming about the same time, and it was a nice meeting to be in where we all kind of like, we can't do that. It's nice having building partners that are all like, no, it doesn't matter, you should do it. I mean, they've been great. So I got to give a lot of credit to CSO and our office too.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'll open the floor to public comment. If anybody would like to make a comment on anything in the agenda, now's your opportunity to do so.
Can people comment?
No, we do not have that. So if somebody would write it in right now. We haven't got to that part. Thank you, I didn't mention that earlier. But if somebody watches this and has a comment, they're welcome to email me directly, and we will make sure it's addressed. Yes. Right. I mean, that's what we said. Right? Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. I'll close the floor to comment. So move on to consent agenda.
2 quick comments real quick, sir, if I can, on consent agenda. One, we do have an introduction I'd like to do for personnel here in a second. Yeah, well, I'll have Mr. Davis do that. Why don't you do that first? Would you like to do a quick introduction,
Sure.
sir?
I'd be happy to do that. High school had an opening for assistant principal with Dr. Hampton leaving. Filling that spot is critical and vital, especially for me and my survival. And we were very fortunate to find an outstanding candidate, Mr. Jason Mayer. He taught at Hamilton Southeastern for 9 years.
Yes.
And then spent a year at the DOE working at the Indiana School Safety Specialist Academy with them, and then went to Danville. In the past 3 years, he's been assistant principal at Danville. He and his wife and 2 children live in Westfield, and we're just super blessed to have him here, and to have somebody with his experience come in is a rarity and a blessing. So we're super stoked and ready to start overwhelming him with things he can do. So glad to have Jason with us tonight and moving forward. Thank you.
It'll also be very helpful having Jason with his safety background, because obviously we lost Melissa. And so Jason fell in, and I will say, Jason, you were a unanimous decision of the group, sir. So congratulations on
Thank
that, too.
Absolutely welcome aboard. Glad to have you.
Pleasure, thank you.
Thanks for being here.
And
The other comment I want to make too comes down to, I know there was some discussion with the board. There is a policy that needs to be cleaned up. I have spoken to a couple of you. We just got to clean it up. There is a lot of documentation back and forth on it all. This goes back to that whole compliance and why we're redoing policies and everything else. I do feel very, very confident where we stand, but I do want the board to know they are correct. There is a policy that needs to be cleaned up quite a bit, and we will get that done ASAP. What I will probably do is work on that right away so we can, while it's still in our mind, get that going and get that back to the board over the next couple of months in board meetings is what I'll do. So
So are you pulling out that item?
no, I won't, because I feel very confident in where we're at. I truly do. Because I did follow back all the old emails through Mary and everybody else back through it, and I feel very confident in that. It is just, it's in like 5 different places, and I need to clean it up. So I would not recommend that, ma'am. I mean, that would obviously be the board's choice, but I feel confident what we're doing. It needs to be, it's all there. It's just, without going, there was a couple things that weren't done by, just won't go after the last couple, and they were never, it's writing in emails and on documents and everything else, just not in one place, which is really our whole compliance issue that we're working through. So
So should the motion then have a caveat with those updates forthcoming?
yes, that'd be great, because that way that reminds us to keep moving forward, but I plan on bringing them to you guys next month. So, because actually Tyler has some great ideas that wants to, and I think some of the ideas of adding into the board would be great. So yes, ma'am, if you want to do that, that would be great. Go forward that way. And that would be the first one for consent. Remember, we got 2 consents.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I will move to approve the consent agenda with the caveat that the buyout will be updated by the next school board.
Sure.
Buyout policy.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Hold on, does that also include removing Brett's name?
No,
Yes,
that
that's
would,
what
yes.
you-
Second.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be a second
This
one.
current
Yeah.
version?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
That's all.
Any discussion?
So if we're gonna update policy, which I guess we're gonna clarify as well, would the path be the same or would it be different?
They will be the same.
I'm just not 100% comfortable with what it says and how it reads and what the numbers are.
Yeah,
I
I'm
want
on.
to see it.
And like I said, I've read through all that today, which is I know through our team and back and forth, and then even made a couple phone calls. I'm very comfortable where we're at, 100%. There were changes made actually with some of the board with you guys in 21 that were just never updated on that policy that's on there. And there was also a couple others even backtracking all the way to 17 that I can track it through. So, I mean, that's the board's call, Dan, but I can tell you I feel very confident of knowing right where it stands.
I know it's the first year of the policy put in place, and policies are meant to be revised. as
But
we
this
put
one's been in
place.
place for 2 years. So,
I understand that.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, it's a policy we like, as we did this for 21.
right,
So,
right,
and it's
yes.
the first time we've actually seen the buyout of that policy, though, so that's why I was kind of curious on it as well.
Yes, maybe. Was it the first time on this one? Okay. Because all the amounts were the same. The board in 21, that's when they added some of the other perks and benefits too. And so that's when that all went down. So that was the first time to do this part.
21 was the first year, 22 and 23 are on this currently.
But there was in 21 though,
21.
payments, yeah. So yeah, it was the same thing in 21.
Any other discussion?
I'm doing it.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0. The second part of the consent agenda involves
Recommendation for a social studies teacher by the name of Mr. Brett Zachary.
Okay.
On there, yes.
All right.
And you got his bio and everything.
Absolutely, we did, yeah. Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve Brett Zachary as middle school?
High school social.
High school social studies teacher, excuse me.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Abstentions? Alright. Carries 4-0. Okay, no old business, on to new business, 8.1, referendum resolution.
So the board's had an opportunity to see all the resolutions. The question has come into play and was recommended by Dan. We do, so I learned something today, that the request that you were making, that is actually one of the words that we are allowed to change. There's actually only a few that you can, and that is one that you can, if the board so wishes. What I presented tonight is I have two same copies of the language for the ballot, one with the word maximum, right? Was that what it was? It was maximum, and one without it. So I have copies of both. So actually, sir, the vote would be which version, if it's changed, if it's not the one with the word, the recommendation would have to be to approve it, removing the word maximum, is what it would have to be.
Did you guys have a chance to review that?
So the motion has to be to approve with the removal of maximum.
Yes, sir. If you remove that word, yes, sir.
Okay, I move to approve with the word maximum removed from the question.
Motion second. Any further discussion?
Just a comment, especially for the public as well.
Yeah.
To remove that word is just misleading. I believe is that the state is trying to set it up to be misleading, and it's not. It's the same tax rate as what we had back in, was it 2017?
Yes.
Post referendum. So there's no change to tax rate here. So we're trying to make this question as easy as possible to read at the ballot box in November. So that's why I recommend that change.
All right, motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0. Dr. Mundy.
Yes, I have a few that get caught up. One, welcome, Jason. Put you to work. We've already put him to work, by the way. He's doing great stuff, so thank you already. And I said it earlier too, but because Scott is here, I would say if he's not, I look forward to getting together with our teachers. Our teachers have worked hard this summer. I've seen so many of them in here and everything else, and I know that negotiations are, in a lot of districts, a very nerve-wracking time. They are not here. I mean, it's great to have a great relationship with our people and our teachers. I do want to thank, too, our custodial and maintenance staff. They have worked like crazy this summer. We're short-staffed. We've had some out with injuries, and it has been a great day. You can see how well things are going around here. And especially those that happen to move some of my stuff accidentally when I wasn't here. Thank you. I appreciate that, too. Our new hires have been great, too. They've been very active. I think we've got a really good bunch. Interesting enough, last year we hired a lot of first-year teachers. This year, so far, we have one that's first year. Everybody else. And it is that continued, we're a destination place. People want to come here, and that's because of our other teachers, our culture, our climate, and everything, and that has a lot to do with you guys as well. So we appreciate it. Let's keep them coming here. That's wonderful. Thanks to Jake and Lee for figuring our technology out tonight. That was a lot of pressure on them, I know, and I appreciate them doing that. A couple others that thank Lynn Workenthing, excuse me. She's got a great opportunity and is leaving us. I met with her today for a while, and I want to make sure we thank her for all the work she's done the last couple of years. We have one celebration. I just found out. So I call all the teachers that have been out for a while on leaves or whatever, and I called and found out Tiffany Laughlin got married on Saturday. So she will have a new name when she returns, and got married Saturday. She was very happy today because I think the baby, she told me, had been asleep for about 5 hours when I called. So she was in a good mood to see her. And please don't forget a couple upcoming things. Our 100th homecoming. Rick is doing great with our 100th homecoming and leading that group. We have so much going on. And I think we even have a website link that's getting put up. I think Lee might have got us a QR code today and ready to go. And the new video that's on the website if you haven't seen that, as well as a couple other, it's hard to believe, we'll be back at it very soon. Thursday the 27th is new teacher orientation. And we did move, for the board to know, if you caught it on the memo, that the breakfast, really the big day for all teachers, is not that Thursday. It'll be the Monday. We're doing things a little differently this year. So teachers are going to go straight to their building meetings on Thursday. Friday's always state fair for all of us to go watch our band play. And then Friday will be, our Monday will be the new teacher breakfast that morning with first day of school Tuesday already. It's crazy to think about.
I'll throw in there, since you mentioned the band's performance time on that Friday is 9:45.
Oh, that's great. Which means we can be having deep fried food by 10:15 for anybody that goes that day. And finally, I just want to thank my office has been here nonstop all summer. I just appreciate all their work of being in here too. This is between the admin team and central office and everybody. Most people don't, you guys do, but most people don't put together the amount of work that gets done in the summer around here. So I appreciate all the time and even the Saturday calls, right, Robin?
Yep.
Okay, I got it. I just want to make sure I wasn't still in trouble for something else. So yeah. That's all. I know that was a lot and I kind of went quickly, but there's so much good stuff going on. It's really hard to put down on one piece. So thank you, sir.
All right, excellent. Thank you for that. We'll move on to board member comments. Mrs. Zachary.
Thank you. I have been appointed as the board's representative to the Education Foundation. So I would like to thank Dr. Mundy for starting the Education Foundation back up, and Jenna Jessup for all the work that she has done in establishing that. We're doing great work. We are working right now on bylaws, and then our first fundraiser is going to be September 15th in conjunction with the homecoming. So I'd just like to let everybody know that that's coming up. And Dr. Mundy, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
I think we just decided today tickets are going to be $12, and we can accommodate up to 200. I think, was that right too?
I think Nancy was saying she could keep accommodating whatever we
Okay,
do was
great.
covered.
The more the merrier. So yes. And we'll have shuttles going back and forth. That's official too, ma'am, from the elementary.
Thank you.
Mr. Fleming.
Absolutely. So, been a good summer so far. It's almost over, right? Halfway through. So school's coming up here. So, but a lot of the projects are happening. School's in good shape right now. And we're actually financially in good shape too. And this is why this referendum is so important. Just important to know that your tax rate is not moving. I mean, we're getting the 0.25 or the 25 cent of the tax dollar, but it's not moving. And actually, in the next 7 years, that tax rate could actually drop a little bit depending on how businesses come to the district. And that 31 project, the project in Lebanon, there's a lot of growth coming this way. So for folks out there, you need to understand that the rate stays the same right now. But right now, our tax rate is mostly supported by residential and farm communities. So as those businesses move in, it actually does help our tax rate in the long run. So a lot of good stuff coming, but that tax rate also allows us to hire good teachers and retain good talent here as well. So it's an important aspect to what we do overall here, sure. Those are my comments.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Mr. Henning.
I don't have any major comments. Appreciate everybody online, everybody that showed up. Only thing I'm gonna say is if you're listening or watching online, come in because we'd like to hear from you.
Mrs. Boone.
I was very happy to hear about the Educational Foundation. That's very exciting news. Congratulations on that. I'm excited to know more about it. And the other thing is that I did see the video and the promotional video, and it's wonderful. So thank you for whoever all worked on that. Yeah, she's fine.
Okay, yep. Kind of wrap up. I will echo the comments that you can tell there's been a lot of activity around here this summer. A lot of good things going on. Custodial, I see them all the time when I do come up, and very much appreciative of what they do for us. I do want to, people I've talked to about the 100th homecoming, there's a lot of excitement around that. I did stumble on the website today at lunchtime, and it looks fantastic. Along an email to the board, I pointed out about the video, which was just fantastic. So loved every bit of that. So you know, a lot of things going on around here. Always a great time to be a Blackhawk, but especially special right now. So appreciate everybody's hard work and extra efforts. So, that, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0.
We good?